Hey, Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday Learning Bhagavatam class. Third time in a week that I'll be meeting with you. So today we're going to continue with our Canto 6, Chapter 4, the Haṁsa-guhya prayers offered to the Lord by Prajāpati Daksha. And our guest speaker is none other than Dr. Subhas Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu, welcome back to Learning Bhagavatam. Over to you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dharmendra Prabhu. Thank you very much for inviting me one more time. So, welcome all of you, and thank you for attending the Bhagavatam class. What I'll do first is I'm going to share the slides, and then I'll take it from there. So, hope you can all see the slide. Yeah, and hear me clearly as well. Okay, thank you very
Yes.
much. Okay, thank you. So today we'll be talking on Canto 6, Chapter 4. That's called the Haṁsa-guhya prayers. And my space. So let's start with Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shiyutapad Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधो जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते सप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे. Thank you, everyone. Right. Okay. So today, well, as I said, I'll be talking on this chapter, chapter 4 on Canto 6. And the just as an introduction, the first aphorism is once we get a human life, the first thing that we are supposed to be doing, according to the Vedanta Sutra, is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Try to find who you are and try to find who the Lord is, who the Supreme Lord is. So Athato Brahma Jigyasa. And Srimad Bhagavatam, firstly, congratulations that you have reached almost halfway mark. That's Canto 6. Now, what is the Srimad Bhagavatam actually about? The Srimad Bhagavatam is, according to Garuda Purana, is Arthoyam Brahma Sutranam. So this Brahma Sutra, which is about the Brahma Gyan, the commentary on the Brahma Sutra, this is called Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, Srimad Bhagavatam is given in the form of a story so that we can all understand the Brahma Tattva, Brahma Gyan. So essentially, this is what is covered in this in today's chapter. And in the Srimad Bhagavatam, as you must have seen, there are the tattva, that is the essence of the Brahma Gyan, is explained in two different forms. One is whenever the prayer comes, it actually tells you about the tattva, that is who the Supreme Lord is. And the second time when the Brahma or Vidya or the Brahma Gyan is given is when there are teachings of great teachers or from the Lord itself. So today the chapter is on about a prayer, Haṁsa-guhya prayer. So this actually is full of deep meaning with Tattva Gyan, lots of Tattva in it. And when I first read the Srimad Bhagavatam, I used to feel to be honest, I used to feel, oh, why do this prayer keep coming? It interrupts the flow of the story. But actually, the real essence of the Bhagavatam lies in these sort of prayers and the teachings, and that's what we should. I mean, we should pay full attention and try to gain the most out of these prayers and teachings. And why do we need to know so much about the Lord? It's because, as said in Bhagavad Gita 10.7, it says, Etam vibhutim yogam cha. Krishna himself says, when he explains his vibhutis, when he explains his glorious manifestations, he himself tells that etam vibhutim yogam cha mama yoveti tattvata so vikalpena yogena yujyate natra samshaya. So the more we know about whom we are trying to love, so our aim is to develop love for Krishna. The more we know about the vibhutis of the Lord, the more our attraction to the Lord happens, and more we are attached to the Lord. So that's why it's important to know this. And also in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says, Siddhanta bali achitte nakara alasi, ha aite Krishna lage sudrida manas. Don't be lazy in trying to learn about this Siddhanta, saying that, oh, I'm doing my bhakti, I can do all this, that's the chanting, I don't need to know much more gyan. No, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says, no, pay attention, don't be lazy, pay attention, because the more you know about Lord, more you are attracted and more you understand about the Lord, the more attraction you develop to the Lord. And also the important thing is when you know about the Lord, then you know yourself, because we are part and parcels of Lord. We are, as in Bhagavad Gita 15.7, it says, Mamaivansho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana manashattani indriyani prakritistani kashati. So we are actually just an ansha of the Lord. Mamaivansho jiva loke. So we are a fragment of the Lord. So that's why it's important to understand this. Tattva. So the way I'm going to present this chapter, I'm just going to try a different way of presenting. So today I'm going to present it in this way, that first I'll focus on the story part of the chapter, and then I will go to the prayer part, and then about the Lord's instructions to Daksha Prajāpati. And then finally, the most important aspect that I'll be covering is the practical application of Tattva, because it's easy. I mean, it's okay to know lots and lots of Tattva Gyan, but how do we apply it in our practical life? How does this knowledge help us in progressing in our Krishna consciousness and devotion? And that will be the main focus. And we'll have questions and discussion at the end. Let's see how we get on, because I don't want to overrun. I usually do, but I'll try to keep to time. Okay, so focusing on the story part. So the story in this chapter begins with Parikshit Maharaj's inquiry to Sukdev Goswami. So he inquires about Visarga. Now, what is Visarga? Visarga essentially means a secondary creation. And what do you understand by secondary creation? So the primary creation is when the universe is firstly created. Brahma, the Lord the Vishnu. So he, or Karna Daksha Vishnu, he creates all the essential elements of the universe. So the 24 or different places, it comes as 16 tattva or 24 or 27 different numbers come, but these are the essential building matters of the universe. And what Lord Brahma does is he does the secondary creation, so creating the living entities by mixing and matching these different the primary elements. That's what is called secondary creation. And as part of answering the question on secondary creation, Sukdev Goswami Maharaj, he tells the stories about Pracetas. And as you might recollect that you heard about the Pracetas story in Canto 4. So just as a refresher, I'm going to tell a little bit more in detail, and because that's what is explained in this chapter. So who are the Pracetas? The Pracetas were the 10 sons born to King Prachinabari. Now, who is King Prachinabari? Again, a refresher. So, King Prachinabari is actually one who is in the line of King Prithu Maharaj. So, he comes in the same line in the first Manvantara, that is Swayambhuva Manu. And he was somebody who believed in Karma Kanda, used to do lots and lots of sacrifices and sacrificing animals. What happened was at that time, Narada Muni came to him and told him that that this is not the right thing to do, and he gave King Prachinabari he told him about an allegorical story about you may remember King Puranjana and the city of 9 gates. So that actually transformed him and put him into the spiritual path. But at the same time, King Prachinabari had 10 sons, and these 10 sons that were born to King Prachinabari were called the Pracetas. They were almost similar in character, and they were more inclined to the spiritual path. And what King Prachinvari told the Pracetas, his sons, is that you need to be the progenitors of mankind. So you need to create progeny. So before doing that, you should go and do tapasya to Lord Vishnu. And so the Prachetas, they obeyed their father's instructions. And so they went and they submerged themselves under the ocean, in the ocean bed, and started doing tapasya to Lord Vishnu for almost 10,000 years. And just as they were doing this tapasya, Lord Shiva, who is the Vaishnava Nam Yathashambhu, who is the greatest devotee of the Lord, he himself comes voluntarily and gives them a Rudra Gita, the prayer to please Lord Vishnu. And this is what they follow, and they please Lord Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu gives them a boon and says that you will be one of the progenitors of the mankind, and you will help with the procreation that you are trying to do according to your father's instructions. So after 10,000 years of penance, the Prachetas come out back to the earth, and then when they come back, they see that the earth is all populated with lots and lots of trees and vegetation, because there was no king to rule. So everywhere it was just lots and lots of trees. So what the Prachetas did is they felt angry that there's no place for growing grains, and it's all the earth is completely covered with lots of trees. So they start to burn all the trees with fire, and also they produce heavy winds to uproot the trees. Seeing this, that all the vegetations were being destroyed, the king of the vegetations and the plants is Soma, that is the moon god. So he comes comes in front of these 10 prachetas, and he tells them this is not the right thing to do, because you are the rulers of this earth, and so even the trees are your praja; they are also living entities. So you shouldn't be destroying the trees. And to please the prachetas, the Soma, that's the moon god, offers them a damsel called Marisha. Now Marisha is somebody who is born from the trees. And I'll tell you a little bit about the story of Marisha shortly. And the King Soma then blesses them that after you marry with Marisha, from the 10 of you, they marry one wife, that is Marisha. They will give birth to Daksha, who will then populate the whole earth. So just to tell briefly about the story of Marisha, this story actually, and there's a story of Pramlocha Apsara and Sage Kandu, which leads to the birth of Marisha. So what happens is that there's a sage called Kandu who basically does severe penances in along the valley of Mount Mandara. So along the valley of Mount Mandara, he does severe penances and austerities. And so Indra gets jealous that somebody is performing such a severe austerity, so they might get very powerful. So in order to distract this sage Kandu, he sends a heavenly damsel or apsara called Pramlocha to distract him and to create an obstruction with his meditation and penances. And so Pramlocha comes there to this place, and then she distracts the meditation of Sage Kandu, and then Sage Kandu starts marries Pramlocha, and then he gets distracted and he just stays with her, and he lives as a wife and husband, and he doesn't know that the time is passing. So almost 980 years have passed, and Sage Kandu is so distracted that he feels one fine day he wakes up and he feels that today it's just evening time, just one day has passed, and the evening I have to go and do my nitya karma, that is his evening prayers. And that's when Pramlocha Apsara says that actually 980 years, over 900 years have passed, and you feel that it's just one day that has passed. And then he comes back to his senses and realizes, oh, such a long time has passed and I've wasted my time. And then he tells Pramlocha to go back to heaven and leave him to continue his penances. And as Pramlocha leaves Sage Kandu and goes to the heaven, she actually is emotionally charged, and she's carrying the child of Sage Kandu at this time, and she perspires or sweats, and some of the sweat from her body falls on the leaves of the trees, and that's how Marisha is born. So the Marisha is born out of from Pramalocha Apsara, and is actually sometimes said that they're born to the trees because her sweat falls on the leaves of the trees and vegetations, and that's how Marisha is born. And then Marisha is taken care of or nourished by Soma, that's the moon god. And as they say that the moon provides the nourishment to the trees and the vegetations, and that's how Marisha is born. And just as a backstory, Marisha in her previous life actually died as a very as a very young widow. I mean, she was married to a king and she died and as a widow, and uh, no, no, her husband died and then she was a widow. And what happened was she was childless. And so she did lots of austerities and prayers to Lord Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu had granted her a boon that in your next life, you will have powerful husbands, multiple husbands, and also you will give birth to a very, very powerful son. And that's how this Marisha, that's the backstory to Marisha. Just tells us in Srimad Bhagavatam how all the stories are interrelated and there are multiple births. So it is nothing that happens out of coincidence. Everything is totally related. So now that's the 10 Pracetas along with one wife Marisha, they give birth to Daksha. And now Daksha has got a backstory, as you all might remember. So Daksha in his first incarnation was born as the mental son of Lord Brahma. And in his first incarnation, you know that he had he had a conflict with Lord Shiva, who was his son-in-law. And what happened was he was doing a yajna for which he did not invite Lord Shiva or his own daughter Sati. And Sati anyway went to that yajna, and where she could not tolerate the insults that was meted out to Lord Shiva, and so she self-immolated herself. And that's how after knowing that she self-immolated herself, Lord Shiva got very angry, and he sent Veerbhadra, who went and decapitated Daksha. And then later on, when everybody went and asked for forgiveness, then Lord Shiva transplanted, or rather placed the goat's head on Daksha. So this is the backstory to the Daksha. The same Daksha is now born to Marisha and the Pracetas. So this was his first life. And in the second life, the same Daksha is born because he left his body with the goat's head, and then he was reborn to the 10 Pracetas and Marisha. So what Daksha did at this point after he was born, and is that he wanted to regain the same power as the Prajāpati. So he performed severe austerities, and he performed austerities almost up to 5 Manvantaras. So it's a long, long time he did the austerities, and then following that he was reappointed as the Prajāpati, or the progenitor of mankind. And so he started creating all the living entities, but he wasn't very happy with his own creation. So he wasn't able to create as he wished. Or in order to gain some blessings from Lord Vishnu, what he did was he went to this place called Ahamarasna, which is near the Vindhya mountain range. And there he tried to please Lord Vishnu by reciting these Haṁsa-guhya prayers, which is the main topic of this chapter. So I will come to Haṁsa-guhya prayers in the later slides. I'll just tell the story part. So after he did, they offered the prayers to the Haṁsa-guhya prayers to Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu is pleased, and Lord Vishnu appears before him in the 8-handed form. And then he is satisfied with Daksha, and he offers Daksha a wife named Asikni, who is the daughter of Panchajana, one of the Prajapatis called Panchajana. And through the union of Daksha and Panchajana, they initially beget all 10,000 sons called Haryashvas. And this you will come to know in the next couple of chapters about what happens. But I'll just tell a brief thing, that the 10,000 sons were called Haryashvas, and then and Daksha expected that they would then procreate and populate the whole world. But actually, the Haryashvas went to meditate, and then uh, uh, they were they met Narada Muni, and Narada Muni put them into the path of devotional service. So, and they did not want to marry and procreate. Then Daksha was upset, but then he went and then procreated, and one more and another 1,000 sons known as the Shavalashvas were born to him, and again they were were instructed by Narada Muni, and they again went along the spiritual path and did not and were not interested in procreating. And that's when Daksha cursed Narada Muni and said that you will never be able to stay in one place. So that's the curse that Narada Muni receives for getting all his sons on the spiritual path. So Daksha then begets 60 daughters, and all the earth and the earthly planets, they are all the three worlds, rather, not just the earthly planets. All the three worlds are then populated by the progeny from these 60 daughters, and you'll hear about this in the next coming chapters. So that's the story part. Now coming to the actual prayers, that's the Haṁsa-guhya prayers. So as I said, the Haṁsa-guhya prayers are it was offered by Daksha to Lord Vishnu, and that is to please Lord Vishnu, so that he can get the blessings of Lord Vishnu to procreate in the appropriate way. And the Haṁsa-guhya prayers. So it's important to know that these Haṁsa-guhya prayers are not something which Daksha uh, concocted of his own mind. These actually are prayers that are already in the Vedic literature. So this gives us a teaching that none of means when I think many, or rather some of you may have asked this query in the past, that should we offer prayers which are in the Shastras, or can we just offer our own prayer? And the correct answer is actually you should offer prayers from from the Shastras, because that has the real essence or the Tattva. Otherwise, if we try to make up our own prayers, our mind is what is going to make up, and it will just create some material things, and it will always ask material things. So we will never we will never be able to transcend the material desires if we try to concoct our own prayers, because our prayers would usually have some sort of material desire that we ask for. And these prayers that we offer should ideally be something that would transcend us to the spiritual plane and in a spiritual path. So these Haṁsa-guhya prayers were not created by Daksha, but they were something which were already present in the Vedic literature, and he used that to please Lord Vishnu. So go to the next. Oh, sorry. Okay. So the some of the I'll just so it comes from verse 23 to 34, and I've taken some of the gist of these prayers. So it basically tells the tattva of the Lord. So it says that the Lord is the controller of all the living entities, and also the controller of Maya, that's the illusory energy. He's self-evident and self-sufficient, and he's not caused by any superior cause. So Lord is the cause of all causes. And also the material senses, including the mind, cannot understand the Paramatma. So if we try to understand the Lord using our mind, we cannot understand it fully. And the only way we can understand is when our consciousness is fully or completely purified out of the contamination of material existence. That is when the Lord is revealed. The super soul who resides in everybody's heart, every living entity's heart, is realized when one is really eager for liberation. So the eagerness to know the Lord is one of the qualification to realize the Lord. So how eager a person is to really realize the Lord. And the only way to realize the Lord is when one engages in bhakti, because Lord is pleased with the devotional service. And it says that the Lord is the cause of all the causes. So he exists before the creation. So before the material creation, only the Lord existed. After the material annihilation, only the Lord exists. And in between as well, the Lord exists. So the Lord is the cause of all the causes. and the Lord's form is Satchidananda. So just as a summary of the Haṁsa-guhya prayers. Now, what exactly do you mean by this Haṁsa-guhya? Hamsa refers to the swan. The literal meaning is the swan, and the swan is symbolically refers to the soul or the super soul, and guhya means the secret. So these are secretive prayers, and these prayers should ideally be they say that should ideally be learned in the the feet of a realized soul, in the feet of a guru, so that one can understand the secret behind each of these. Because it's easy to just tell to list out what the prayer actually means, but to know the secret of what the prayer actually means the secret of the super soul as to who the Atma is, who we are. That is revealed when we learn it from a qualified teacher, spiritual teachers, self-realized teacher. Now, these prayers, as I said, were not composed by Daksha, but they were already existing. And so, in summary, the Haṁsa-guhya prayers just tells that the supreme controller is the Lord is the supreme controller and the cause of all causes. And the Lord is the eternal companion of the living entities. So the living is always present with the living entities, and the Lord is transcendental and beyond material perception. So it's as it's said in the Brahma Samhita prayers. It says that Pantastu Koti Shatavatsra Sampragamyo Vayurathapi Manaso Munipungavanam Sopyastyat Prapadasinya Vichinta Tatve Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So if you try to speculate with your mind for millions and millions of years, you will still never be able to understand the Lord. So even if a Muni, a great philosopher, tries to keep on speculating, okay, the God might be this way or that way, for millions of lifetimes or years, he will still not be able to understand the Lord, because Lord is transcendental and beyond material perception. Now, the Lord appeared in his 8-arm form in front of Daksha, and he was pleased with Daksha, and he offered the Panchajana, that's one of the Prajapati's daughter called Asikni. And then from then on, he said that further progeny will be created by the union of the male and the female. And that's how Daksha Daksha procreated, and they had the 10,000 sons, and then 1,000 sons, and then 60 daughters in the end. And the progeny from these 60 daughters then populated the entire universe. Now, as I said, I will focus more on the practical application of Tattva. So this is exactly what I've summarized is the actual Haṁsa-guhya prayers. Now, the question immediately that comes to mind is, okay, Lord is transcendental. This is Lord's Tattva, but how is that knowledge useful to me? How can I practically apply this knowledge of Tattva in my day-to-day practice? How is it going to elevate me in my spiritual practice? And that's what we will discuss now. So the first question is, because as I said, is you have to know Athato Brahma Jigyasa, you have to know who the Lord is and who you yourself are. So the first question is, who am I? But the actual question that I want to ask you is, do you understand? Because we have read Srimad Bhagavatam for a long time, for a couple of more than a couple, I think a couple of years now. So what do you understand is the difference between an Atma and a Jivatma? I'll just ask the group. Anybody wants to answer? What do you understand by Atma and Jivatma? Because if this will tell you who you are, who we are. So anybody wants to answer? Is there any difference between an Atma and Jivatma? So we call ourselves Jivatma. Is there a difference? Why are we called Jivatmas? Anybody can answer?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
The Atma is a super soul, and the Jivatma is a living entity, is a human being, basically.
So super soul is Paramatma, Mataji. So I want to know, why do we attach the prefix Jiva to the Atma when we refer to us?
Because we are human beings.
We are living entities.
Actually, we are not this body. We are the soul, but we have to have a body to carry the soul.
Yeah. So are we Atmas or are we Jivatmas?
I think we are Atma.
We are Atma, who is a Jiva.
We are Atma, who is the Jivatma. Yes, very, very nice, Prabhuji. But what I want to know is, why are we called Jivatmas? Why just not Atmas?
I will speculate here. So is it all the jivas, like not the animals and above are Jivatma and plants will be Atma? And lower life forms?
Okay.
I know, I'm just guessing.
No, that's fine, Mataji. So this is very important concept to understand, and there's a very subtle distinction that's important to understand, and sometimes these terms are used interchangeably, and because we need to understand who we really are, so that's why this subtle difference needs to be understood very, very clearly. So I'll just go on and tell. So
can
now
I say so? Can I say what I think?
Yes,
Haribol.
Mataji. Haribol,
I think Jiva is the living being, or the individual soul or life force, as is considered because it's considered as immortal, the essence that survives physical death.
Okay, Mataji. So, Mataji, my question is: are we or you? Are we a Jivatma or we an Atma? Who are we?
Jivatma. We are Jiva.
Jivatma. And what is the difference between Jivatma and Atma? So,
Atma pervades all living entities,
yes,
and Jivatma is only like individual and individually, like everybody is a Jivatma.
Okay. So I'll tell you. So I would say that nobody is wrong, but there is a subtle difference which is important to understand, because otherwise, and this term is sometimes used interchangeably, and that's the reason everybody is confused. So the subtle difference is this. So basically, everybody has got an Atma. Yeah. So that's the individual soul. So we are Jivere Swarupai Nitya Krishna Das. And 15.7 Bhagavad Gita says, Mamaivansho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. So we are a part and parcel of Krishna. So we are a fraction or a spark of the universal soul. We are of the same nature of Paramatma, and we are not subject to material modification. This is the most important thing to remember. Not subject to material modification. The Atma is not subject. So Atma doesn't grow old, doesn't do any karma. Atma is untainted by karma. So all the karma that we are doing, the Atma remains untainted, completely untainted. Okay, the Atma has no material desires. So this is very important to realize. And when we call somebody a Jivatma, it is the conditioned individual soul. So when somebody is conditioned, then we call the same pure Atma as a Jivatma. So actually, to call an Atma as a Jivatma is in a way to insult the Atma, but that is what we are. We have become conditioned. The Atma, as I said, cannot be affected by any material conditions. The Atma always remains pure, is not affected by any material desires. But although we are Atma, we are called as Jivatma because we have become conditioned. So when an Atma becomes conditioned, we call the same Atma as Jivatma. So essentially they are the same, but the subtle difference is when the Atma, who cannot be conditioned really, has become conditioned. So it's a very difficult concept to after hearing to understand it in the first go. But remember that we are all spiritual beings, Atmas, and as Atma, we are 100% pure, no material desires, absolutely pure. But still, we have become conditioned. We have accepted this body as ourselves. And so this same Atma is now called as a Jivatma. Okay, so the misidentification with the material body as I and mine experiencing. So the thing that experiences the cycle of birth and death is the Jivatma, and the part of us which experiences the karma and its effects is called the Jivatma. I'll explain this in a little bit more detail. I know it's a little bit tricky, but this is important. So to understand. Now, the question you might ask is, so the references are Bhagavad Gita 7.5. It says, Apariyamita Swanyam Prakritim Vidyame Param Jiva Bhuta Mahabaho Yedam Darite Jagat. So the Jiva Bhuta is also addressed in Bhagavad Gita as a Prakriti because it accepts the material ye yedam dharyate jagat. So it accepts the material world as I and mine, and that's why it is addressed as a prakriti. So, and prakriti is non-spiritual. Okay, and or in 15.7 it says Mamaivansho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana Manashashtan Indriyani Prakriti Stani Karshati. And how do we associate with prakriti? With the help of mind and our 10 senses. And in 5.5.8 Srimad Bhagavatam it says Janasya Mohoyam Aham Mameti. It is the I and mind which has caused the bondage. So essentially we as Atma are 100% pure, but because of this I and mind illusion, we have become bound to this world. And that's the subtle difference, very important to understand, because otherwise you might say, oh, I have to purify my Atma, but my Atma is already pure. It is this conditioning which we have to. So now the next question is, how and when did this Atma become a Jivatma? How and why did we become conditioned? So anybody wants to answer? So how did we become conditioned? Or
because
when
of the three modes of material nature, we get affected by the three modes.
Okay, so the three modes of material nature have conditioned us because they have bound the Atma. Is that Mataji? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Anybody else with any?
By taking many births.
Yeah, but how? Means that is the conditioning, Mataji. So, why has, as I said before, that the Atma is pure, it has no contamination. But how did it accept this contamination? Why?
Because we chose to.
Yeah. So, how did we choose to? Means, as I said, the Atma itself does not have any material desires.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. We were all like in the spiritual world, and then we wanted to enjoy just like Krishna, and then so Krishna created this material world so that we can come here, and then we enjoy like him here, but not in the spiritual world, in the material world.
Yes, yes, Mataji. But okay, Mataji.
Okay.
So, thank you, Mataji.
Hare
So,
Krishna,
yeah,
Prabhu.
Yes.
Is it to do with consciousness and unconsciousness?
Consciousness and unconsciousness. So, what exactly, if you can elaborate that, Mataji?
It's in a way is reflected consciousness, the Jivatma.
Yeah, it's a reflected conscious Jivatma, which is bound. Right. Okay, Mataji. Yeah, I think you're getting
so Atma is pure consciousness.
Yes, Atma is pure consciousness. So that is the question, that how did this Atma become a Jivatma? So you are, I think you are all touching on the right part, but not exactly telling the whole thing. But I think everybody is correct.
By turning our back to Krishna?
By turning back to Krishna? Yes, but who needs to turn back? As I said, the Atma is never impure. So even now, your Atma is 100% pure. Even today, although you are in the material world, your Atma is not at all tainted. Your Atma can have no material desires. Your Atma means it's easy to say that, oh, my Atma has got desire to come and enjoy the material world. But your Atma, as I said in the first stage, your Atma can have no material desires. It is pure, so pure that in Bhagavad Gita it says 13.22, Anaditva nirgunatvat paramatmayam vya sharirastopi kaunteya na karoti na lipyate. Even though your Atma is in your body, it actually does nothing. And it doesn't get bound by anything. So your Atma is so pure, but still you got bound. So how did you manage to do that? How did we manage to do that?
The cycle of birth and death, I suppose.
Yes, Mataji. But,
and reincarnation.
Yes. So perfect, Mataji. But how? That's what I'm trying to get, because the Atma doesn't get.
Okay, is it to do with the senses, mind, and intellect?
Yes, Mataji, that's true. But how? So you are absolutely right. So the question I'm asking is how, and the answer to the how is I'll tell you is this is given in Ramcharitmanas. So it says it's exactly given in all the scriptures. Jad Chetan Granthi Pad Gayi Yajyapi Mrusha Chutat Katinai. So Jad Chetan. So as Mataji said, Jad means unconscious, Chetan, conscious. So the soul, conscious, and the unconscious is the material world. They both have mixed together and they have been tied in a knot. Okay, Granthi means a knot. Okay, Jad, Chetan, Granthi Padge. So our soul, fully conscious, and the material world have been tied in a knot. And this is Yadyapi Mirsha. There is actually, this knot is actually a false knot. It's not a real knot. It is a false knot. But this false knot is difficult to get rid of. So the knot that is tying us to the material world is a false knot, which is difficult to get rid of. And this knot, as one of you already said, is the knot of the three gunas. So it is the three gunas which is binding this Atma to this material world. And as I said in 13.22 Bhagavad Gita, it says that the soul itself doesn't do anything, but because of this bond of gunas, the soul assumes or thinks that we are actually doing. We are actually bound to this material world, and we are the doers and we are the enjoyers. And that is why that is why they said that Purusha Prakriti Stohi Bhungte Prakriti Jangunan Karanam Guna Sangosya Sadasad Yoni Janmasu. So that is why it said that as we enjoy, then we get bound, and then we have the cycle of birth and death. Although the soul itself is not having it's not reborn, but the mind and this strong bondage that we have to the I and mind, which is keeping us bound to this material world. And how does this three gunas actually cause the bondage? Malki Mataji, you want to ask something, but can I just leave it for a few more minutes? I'll just come.
Absolutely, Prabhu. Please go on. Please continue.
Yeah, because we'll probably take questions at the end so that we can cover. Yeah, thank you, Mataji. So now the question is, with the knots of the three gunas is what has bound us. Now, how did this happen? Why is this Atma? What is covering this Atma, which is causing this illusion and this bondage? So we were created by Brahma. So when Brahma created this material, the secondary creation, what he did was he covered all the living entities with 5 coverings. That these are called the 5 kleshas, sufferings or coverings. And this comes in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It came in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, but I'll just tell you. So it's more elaborated in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So these 5 coverings are called the avidya, that is ignorance, of who we really are. The egoism, the false ego, considering I am the body and the mind, etc. That is called asmita. Then raga, the attachment. So once this ignorance and egoism develops, then we have attachment. We attach, means I want, this is my wife, my children and everything. You get attached to certain things, I and mine. And then we also have dvesha. Even dvesha means I don't like this. I don't like this person. I hate this person. I hate this thing. So dvesha and abhinivesha. So once all this attachment develops, then we develop abhinesha. So there is a fear of death, a constant fear of death. Although as soul, we never die. There's a constant fear of death. So these 5 coverings are are put around the living entities, and this is what Brahma does. And the reference is the Srimad Bhagavatam 3.12.2. It says, Sasarjagre antatamisram atatamisram adikut mahamoham cha moham cha tamascha jnana vrittaya. This is how the real knowledge is covered. And so these 5 layers of klesha, sufferings or coverings are put around the jiva. Now, so our suffering in this our suffering in this material world. So what is the analogy that will help us understand how we are suffering in this material world? So one of the analogy that's given and is that, for example, if suppose I'm dreaming and I'm drowning in the ocean in my dream, I don't know how to swim. I'm just drowning and I'm struggling and I'm screaming, oh, somebody help me, somebody help me. I'm really, really sweating and but I'm in my dreaming that I am actually drowning. Or suppose somebody's cutting my neck in the dream and I'm struggling and I'm suffering and I'm screaming, and suppose my wife is sitting next to me and she wants to help me. So in the first instance, if I'm drowning, Can she get an expert swimmer, or can she get a boat for me or help? No, the only thing she can do is wake me up from my dream. And similarly, if somebody is cutting my neck in my dream, I suffer, and the suffering is real. And that suffering will only disappear or go. She can't get bodyguards and some sharpshooters or helpers to help me. The only thing she can do to get rid of my suffering is to actually wake me up. And that is the first solution, which is wake me up, which is gyan. So we need the gyan, the real knowledge. And the second solution is if somebody comes in my dream and explains the whole thing. And this is the role of the guru. So Guru Krishna comes in our dreams. Or in this material world, in the form of a guru to explain and to get rid of this ignorance. And there are three, and that's how this whole spiritual discipline that we practice, of karma yoga, jnana yoga, and bhakti yoga. So different levels of helping us to get the real gyan and to apply it in our day-to-day life, so that we can elevate ourselves to the spiritual platform. And as in Bhagavad Gita 14.26, the only way to get rid of this gunas, mamcha yo vicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samati tetan brahma-guhya kalpate. The only way to overcome these effects of the gunas is bhakti yoga, and that's what we are trying to do. And as I said, that if somebody says, okay, I will get rid of all my attachment by just giving up all the material desires and stuff without doing bhakti, it's not possible. As said in Bhagavad Gita 2.59 says, Vishya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasvarjam rasopyasya param drishva nivartate. Unless you have got an attachment to Supreme, just giving up, you cannot stay by giving up all the material desires. You need something superior to get attached to. And then the next question is as I said, in the Hamsa-guhya prayers, it says that unless one develops a keen desire for liberation or mukti, or the desire to attain Krishna, that's one of the qualification to attain the mukti or to attain Krishna. So the question is, what is mukti or moksha, and who's the one who gets liberated? So I'll take some answers here. So what do you understand by mukti?
When you don't want to be born again and just be in trance, in heavenly places, not to be born again.
So not to be born again is mukti?
In the material world, I mean.
Not to be born again in the material world is mukti. Okay. So who gets mukti?
Anyone who will have devotional service to that level that it, like, you get Krishna Prem, obviously you'll get mukti, or you'll get to, there's those 5 muktis, right? The way Swarupa, Samipya, Swarat. So they will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
One who transcends the material modes.
One who transcends the material modes gets mukti. So who transcends the material modes? One who transcends the material modes.
Devotee.
So the devotee transcends.
All the real devotees who wants to just do everything for Krishna.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, the devotional service is required to transcend the gunas, and that's when you call mukti. Now the question, the thing I was trying to get at is that as spirit souls, you are never bound. So who is getting liberated? So your soul is already not bound. So the thing is mukti. The definition of mukti given is that you need to get atyantika dukha nivritti paramananda prapti. So atyantika dukha nivritti means completely getting rid of. What is mukti is that completely when you get rid of all the sufferings, or you get the supreme bliss or supreme ananda, paramananda prapti. So 2 things should happen. All your sufferings should disappear and you should get paramananda prapti. But the Srimad Bhagavatam gives a better definition, which Prabhupada quotes all the time. Whenever he talks about mukti, he says, muktir hitvanyata rupam swarupena vyavastiti. So mukti actually is when you are situated in your real swarupa, because your real swarupa, your real you. So when you try to point who you are and try to point and find out who you are, so you actually are that soul, which I said in the first instance, who is never bound. And when you are situated in your own swarupa and don't identify with anything else, you are already liberated. The problem is we are not never situated in our true self. We are bound and identify with something or the other. And if we try to, and that's why it is called self-realization, it's not called self-knowledge. Because if I say I need to have knowledge about myself, the question is, who wants to know about myself? Because the self is the one, the subject is the self, and it cannot, it's not going to know itself. It's like the knower has to know itself. So it is basically where you realize and are situated in your own swarupa and not identify with anything else. That is the actual definition of mukti, which Prabhupada quotes several times in his talk. This particular thing, muktir hitva anyata rupam. So giving up all the anyata rupam, the wrong identification, and be situated in your own real self. That is actually what mukti is. So mukti, important to, as I said, is swatasiddh. It's already attained because your soul is never ever bound. And this paradox is difficult to realize, and we think we have to do something to get liberated. That's something that we need to do, is to get rid of all our misunderstanding and our attachment, so which doesn't really exist. Means it's all the false attachment and the false identification, to get rid all the sadhana that we do, because mukti is swatasiddh. Swatasiddh means it's already attained, it's already there, because your soul, as I said, is already pure. But now we have attached and accepted so many wrong things, and that's why we have bound ourselves in a tangle. Just like a silkworm example is given so many times in the Shastras. A silkworm forms so much cocoon around itself that it itself gets trapped within it and dies out of suffocation within it. So similarly, we have misidentified and made so many attachments and stuff that we have bound ourselves in this big cocoon, and we find us difficult to get rid of it. So although the mukti is swatasiddh, we still have to do sadhana. That sadhana is actually to get rid of all these misidentifications and wrong notions that we have developed and bound ourselves in. And so Kabir actually sings our this ironical state that we are in. He says, "Pani mein meen pyasi mohe sun sun aave hasi re." So like a fish. So he thinks that the fish is in the water, but it is thirsty. So it's just saying, "Oh, I'm thirsty, I'm thirsty." It's already in the water, but it keep on saying, "I'm thirsty, I'm thirsty." So it just serves as a metaphor of our human condition. Our condition actually is that we as a soul are already liberated, but we keep asking, "Oh, I need to be liberated. I'm bound, I'm bound, I'm bound." So this is the irony of a situation where like just a fish who keeps complaining that, "Oh, I'm so thirsty, I'm so thirsty," although it is in the water. So that's why Kabir says it just makes one person laugh. Pani mein meen pyasi mohe sun sun aave hasi re. So that's exactly the condition that we are in right now. And so all the sadhana that we do, any sadhana that we do, including devotional service, is actually to get rid of all this asadhana, that is the wrong things that we have accumulated over many lifetimes, which has kept us bound. So it's important to remember, we always complain that Maya has bound us. It is not the Maya which has bound us. It is we who are holding on to Maya. And that's what Bhakti Vinod Thakur also says in his Jaiva Dharma book. So he gives the example of a man who goes and hugs a tree very tightly and says, "Oh, this tree has caught me. Oh, this tree has caught me. Somebody please help." So he's the one who has embraced the tree tightly, but he keeps screaming for help, saying, "Oh, somebody help me. This tree has caught me." So it is we who have held on to the Maya. And whom have we held on to? To the false notion of I, mine. So like essentially when we talk about mind control, we say, "My mind, I want to control my mind." So we have held on to our mind. So it is this strong holding on to that holding on to Maya that we have done, that we have to give up. And we can't give that up so easily. Although we know it is false, we can't give it up so easily. And that's why we do all this sadhana. So this is the funny thing. And the funny thing about this is that the Maya is nasato vidyate bhavo. In Bhagavad Gita 2.16, it says that none of these material things that we hold on to and say it is I and mine, and we keep on holding on to Maya, and we try to get rid of Maya, is actually by itself leaving us all the time. So the material things. So for example, we want to hold on to our bodies, but as you see that my childhood body has left me, so it's automatically leaving us anyway. So that's the funny part, that the Maya is also trying to leave us, but we still hold on to it. So this thing, the important thing to remember is you cannot see the same material world twice. So in a blink of the eye, for example, you're standing in front of the Ganges River. Just imagine that. You blink your eyes and see again, you can't see the same river again. Basically, the water that you saw in the first instance has already moved. It's already gone. So the world is changing so fast that this material world is so anitya, means it's so changing, so temporary, that in a fraction of a second, things keep moving. So you can't see the same material world two times. So this is what is called nitya pralay. So like we are constantly dying. And this is another thing which Prabhupada tells in all his lectures, that we think we are living, but we are actually dying continuously. So we, meaning the material body, everything keeps on changing, keeps on dying continuously. And the mukti is the permanent dissolution of the material existence. So that is when we completely give away this our bondage to Maya. That is what is called mukti. And it is so in the Canto 12 of Srimad Bhagavatam, you will hear about 4 types of pralay. We always think about pralay, means the material dissolution. We only think about the prakritik pralay, which happens at the end of Brahma's life, when the material existence disappears. And we know about the Naimitika Pralay, that is the partial dissolution which happens at the end of Brahma's day. But we never talk about the Nitya Pralay, which is happening every day. Means every day, as I said, the material things are changing, dying constantly. And we don't talk so much about the Atyantik Pralay, which is the Mukti, when we completely give up this Maya and go. That is called the Atyantik Pralay. So there are 4 dissolutions that happen, and Mukti is actually the Atyantik Pralay. So for that person, the material world disappears completely when he's completely liberated. Now, just one more thing about Tattva is, yes, this is all the basic of who we really are. And that's why it's called self-realization. Means these things, the knowledge of these things is not going to help you. You have to, one has to realize this in themselves for this to be really effective. Now, having known this, one other important Tattva point that I will like to cover is about karma, because this is another principle that keeps us bound. So one simple question I want to ask is, which practical, because as I said, this is practical application of Tattva that we are talking about. So how do you deal when somebody does bad things to you? So if somebody has done, because this is a common question which gets asked, it's okay to talk about all these Tattva things and philosophy, but practically, how do you deal? Means if somebody has done something bad to you, what should be your approach? Anybody can answer, please. If somebody has done something bad to you, you do not deserve, and you think it's done, then how do you approach it as a devotee or as somebody?
We have to tolerate, Prabhu, because we think we don't deserve, but that is what we think. What we are getting, every situation that we are in, that we are, is a result of our past karma. But I'm not saying I behave that way. I don't tolerate, but we should tolerate.
Okay, so you mean to say?
I think, sorry, can I say?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think if you are Krishna conscious, you would actually think about it. It's an opportunity to learn from it and not retaliate. So
not retaliate. Okay. Yeah. Why should you not retaliate, Mataji?
Because you fuel in the fire, because anger hits anger, and then you create more disturbance in yourself.
So you would accept any injustice that is done to you?
Well, if it's a correct time, you can actually try and address it, but it's how you do it is important. You know, you actually, I see, it's taking the good with the bad, I suppose. Equilibrium, if you're in a good state of mind.
Okay, Mataji, very nice. But so how do you explain that in terms of your understanding of the spiritual knowledge? Means how do you explain that? Means so you tolerate it because why should you tolerate it?
I can say from myself, before I came to Krishna consciousness, I always went from the person who hurt me or done me bad, because somehow I always thought this must be some meaning with that. It must be something that has to happen. This has to happen, but I didn't know why. When I came to Krishna consciousness, then I was more certain that it was arranged. Anything is happened, it's arranged by Krishna.
Yeah.
And I don't say that I'm just stay with the person who hurt me or so on. No, I don't say that. I just go from the person and I forget this person. I forgive them. I don't have any grudge on them, because I always think this is Krishna. This is what Krishna wants.
Okay,
it's arranged by Krishna, so I don't have right to be angry or to have hatred or anything. I don't have right to that.
Okay, so you forgive them.
Yes.
Is that what you do? Okay, you forgive them. Okay, Mataji. Anybody else with any other?
I do good things to them.
It depends on the context.
I do good things to them.
You do good things to them, but why do you do that, Prabhuji? If you can tell me, what's your thinking behind?
That is their nature to do bad things, but that's my nature to do good things.
Your nature to do good things.
Yeah, but the good thing and bad thing is not equal. And whoever did bad, we have to do good to them. So that is a good virtue.
Because you are a good-natured person, is that the only reason, or?
Yeah, that's one reason, and that is also a good virtue to follow.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Prabhuji, one thing I can say, my inputs, every action has a reaction. So if I'm going to do something bad, or if they're doing bad, we are all building up karma. So I suppose that goes in duality. So I would say don't build up the bad karma. So if I'm going to do something bad, then the reaction of that is going to be bad. So every action has a reaction.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji. Yes.
I have an answer.
Okay. Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Yes. This question, how to deal with someone doing bad things to you, reminds me of when the Hare Krishna movement started in the Western countries, it happened for the devotees to be attacked. Some of them were put in jail even. And recently I heard a class by Srila Prabhupada where he mentions such attacks. And his instruction during this class about how to deal with being attacked by the demons, because Srila Prabhupada said that naturally devotees are attacked by demons. It happens all the time. That is the nature of the external energy, material energy. If you become a devotee, sooner or later you are going to be attacked by the demons. And the attacks can go to the extreme of the demons putting you in jail, and it happened to many devotees representing Srila Prabhupada in favor of the establishment of the Hare Krishna movement. So the instruction of Srila Prabhupada in this class was that we should tolerate tolerate the attacks, and even if you are put in jail, you need to chant the Mahamantra even if you're in jail, and that is the way for you to tolerate such kind of extreme attack. And chanting even in jail is the same as being protected in such a way that sooner or later the devotee will emerge victorious against such attacks, just because he's chanting, which is not different from being protected. So thank you for this question. It's a very intelligent question.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for your thoughts.
You're welcome.
Okay, so thank you. So now, essentially, because we are talking about the practical application of Tattva, I will tell exactly how, because this is dealing with karma, is that one very important, as we read, Lord is the cause of all causes. So there is nothing which can happen without the knowledge or without the sanction of the Lord. And it's very important to remember that no one can cause you any harm. So if you are getting any harm, it is absolutely impossible to harm you unless that person deserves it. Okay, and by your previous karma. Your previous karma may be in this lifetime or in previous lifetime, but it is an absolute rule, a definite rule, which means if you're doubting this rule, that means you're doubting Krishna, because Krishna is everywhere at every time and in every place. It is right here, right now, as well. So you are if you don't believe this, it means that you don't have any faith. So you won't be harmed. Means if if somebody comes and hits me, it is because I deserve that, and it is because of my past karma which I have done. It cannot happen. No one can harm me unless one person truly deserves. So this is the important knowledge. It is the basis of prarabdha karma. And when somebody is born in a material body, they come with something called a prarabdha karma. A prarabdha karma in a human life is a mix of some punya karma and pap karma. So it is never all punya, never all pap. Because if all the punya were to be there, then he will be in the heavenly planets, just enjoying. If all the pap karma is there, 100% pap karma, then he will be in the hellish planets. But a human form in the material plane will have a combination of his previous pap and punya, a balance, meaning it won't be 50-50, but it would be a bit of both. So you will never have a person who will be 100% suffering in this world only, or 100% just enjoying. There will be a little bit of suffering or enjoyment. But the important thing to remember is anything that you get, any harm that you get, is deserved by you. That is the important rule. So and the second thing is, if somebody harms me and I think, oh, now this person has punched me, I'm going to go and punch him back. It's important to remember that you cannot harm anyone, including the one who has harmed you, unless that person deserves it by his karma. So this is the other rule that you have to remember. So even if you try to go and harm him, you have seen several cases where suppose somebody has insulted you and you try to insult that person and it never happens, somehow or the other, it doesn't materialize. It's because you cannot harm him until and unless that person deserves it by his karma at that particular time. So there is no point in harming anyone, trying to harm anyone and spoiling your own thoughts. This is because by thinking or attempting to harm anybody, all you are doing is you are making your present kriyaman karma, which is your independent new karma that you're doing right now, you're making it bad, and then you have to suffer the consequences of this bad thought in the future. So the best way to approach is to remember that you have deserved it, but try not to harm the other person or try to get ill feelings for the others. But at the same time, it is to be remembered that you are not tolerating, or you are not it is not actually forgiveness. It is actually an acceptance. Although forgiveness is important, but the real thing to understand, externally forgiveness is good, but the real thing to understand internally is that I have deserved this. And this is exactly the answer that Dharma, in the form of the bull, who had his 3 legs cut off, and Parikshit Maharaj, when he goes and asks Dharma, so he asked Dharma, and the Kali was standing next to him with the stick or the sword, and Parikshit Maharaj asked this Dharma in the form of the bull, so who has hurt your 3 legs? Who has cut your 3 legs? So Dharma never says in one, he asks so many times, but Dharma will never ever say that this Kali person has cut my legs. Because all he says in the answer, if you go through, recollect and go through, he'll say, it is all because of because of previous karma, one deserves it. So the bull says that I deserved my cutting of 3 legs because of my karma. It is not, I can't blame it on the other person. So any suffering that you get, you have deserved it. It may not be, you may not even realize it right now. So similarly, Bhishma asked Krishna, I can recollect my 100 lifetimes. I have never done any significant papa karma. Then why am I suffering with having to lie on this bed of arrows and suffering all the pain? So Krishna says to Bhishma, you can recollect up to 100 lifetimes, but before that, what you did was you took a snake and put the snake on a tree full of thorns and let it suffer to death, and so you have to suffer. So everything that one person gets or experiences is because of one's own karma is coming back. So so that's why there is one person who just, so this is not what do you call, it's not belittling some other faith, but just one thing that that was mentioned is that when Lord Jesus Christ says that Lord forgive them for they know not what they are doing, because this is what the explanation is given. It's important to realize that in the explanation given in the Sanatan literature is that that person has deserved it. Is not saying that I forgive somebody else. That means you are apportioning blame to that person. So that is not the principle that we have to accept in our understanding. We have to think that who am I to forgive that person? Means by forgiving you are apportioning the blame to him. Rather, you should understand that be grateful to the person who harms you, because actually he's obliterating your pap karma. So he has neutralized the karma which you were anyway bound to suffer, and this person has come and given you back your karma. So nothing happens without you deserving it. No harm will happen to you without deserving it. And that's one other thing to remember, that even the good that we try to do, a good will not happen to a person unless that person deserves it. And that is a very simple, small story I will give, and then I will end this class. And that is the story of a beggar and a king. So a beggar was very, 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 very poor. So the king felt that, okay, I should, the astrologer said that this person in his, according to his astrological charts, he is going to remain a beggar. So the king said, no, I'm going to change his fate. I am going to give him money, and then I'll make him rich. How do you say that he's going to be a beggar throughout? So this king, what he does is, we can't give the money directly to all the beggars. So he thought, okay, let me do a trick. So he takes a pumpkin, or not a pumpkin, a watermelon, and then makes a tiny hole in the watermelon and stuffs it with lots of gold coins. And then there was a path that the beggar used to go along daily while he was begging. So on the path that he traveled, so this king placed this watermelon filled with gold coins and said, okay, now see, this pauper will see this watermelon, he will take it, he will cut it, and then he will enjoy all these gold coins, he'll become the richest man. So he kept it, and then he kept some soldiers to just keep a watch so that nobody else comes and takes this watermelon. So and this pauper comes, and then what he does is that he sees this watermelon on the path and in an isolated, desolate place. So he takes this watermelon, and what he does is that he thinks, oh, this watermelon is of no use to me. What am I going to do with this? So he goes to the shop and actually sells it for 1 or 2 rupees, and then goes and still remains the beggar. So the thing is, if the person doesn't deserve to be rich by his karma, no matter what you do, they may not get it. So this is how the karma works. And the karma means even when the Lord incarnates, he also tries to follow this sort of rule to show to us as a teaching. So for example, in the Ram avatar, Lord Rama killed Bali by hiding behind the trees with an arrow. So when in the Krishna avatar, the same Bali comes as the hunter who hides behind the tree and shoots the arrow at Lord Krishna's feet to end his pastime. So Lord Krishna enacts the same pastime just to show that how karma is so effective. And the shloka that comes in the Vedic literature in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, it says that avashyameva bhuktavyam kritam karma shubhashubham na bhuktam shiyeta karma kalpakoti shatairapi. So this karma, it is not ended in several lifetimes, even hundreds and millions of lifetimes. Your karma doesn't end. Sorry, I will stop that and we'll take question and answers. Or any discussion or anything anybody wants to.
Okay, thank you very much, Prabhu. Such a
Krishna.
beautiful interactive class as always. Thank you for that. If anyone has a question, please raise your hand.
Or comments or anything, sir.
Yeah.
Malti Mataji.
Go on. Malti Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, I was very eagerly waiting to actually understand how the Atma becomes Jiva Atma. I don't think I understood it properly, because if all of us were initially in the spiritual world with Krishna and in the pure state, and Atma doesn't have any bad desires, any material desires, how did these gunas come and interact with us in the spiritual world at all?
Yes,
how did we get the desire to enjoy ourselves without Krishna?
Yes, Mataji, and that's why this very good question, Mataji, and this is the question that everybody asks, and we give simple answers to stop that. Meaning the easiest answer that we always hear is that we had this desire, material desire, to come and enjoy, and that's why we got bound. This is the answer that you will hear each and every time. Because the real answer is difficult to explain, and that's why this is the answer you will always hear, that because you desired, that's why you came. And that, in a way, is not a wrong answer. It is a right answer, but a partly correct answer. Why partly correct? Because yes, the desires have bound you, but it was not the material. The spirit soul itself cannot, not only does not, cannot have a material desire in the first instance. And that's why this bondage is so nicely explained by Tulsidas Goswami in his Ramcharitmanas. So this beautiful thing that I told, Jad Chetan Granthi Pad Gayi Yadyapi Mrisha. So this bondage is an illusion, and that's why nobody will be able to digest. I'm bound, Prabhuji. How would you say this is an illusion? So it is true, you are bound, but this is also true that it is an illusion. The bondage is illusion. That's how Bhakti Vinod Thakur he explains. The Maya has never bound us. We are the one who are holding on to Maya. And this, although you have heard from me, you can't get liberated. Yadyapi Mirusha. So although this is illusory, it has bound you and you cannot get rid of it. And that's why we need to do bhakti. Because liberation is, as I said, mukti is swata siddh. Swata siddh means you are already liberated. The soul is already liberated. Only thing is, because the soul is misidentifying, and this misidentification with the body, and that's why it's bound. And because of this misidentification, we identify with your mind. And now when you're trying to understand this, whatever I'm saying, you're trying to understand it with your mind. So and the mind is material, so it will never get what I'm trying to say. So that's why we do bhakti, and this bhakti purifies us, and we get rid of this bondage. The gunas are, because that is our state, that it is so difficult that mentally we cannot understand. Mataji, this is the actual answer, but the easiest way to explain and put to rest is that because you had the material desire, which is a partly true answer, because when all the material desires are given up, you are no longer bound. Mataji, hope this helps, because Mataji, as I said, to understand with our mind is this concept is difficult, but one thing you have to at least have 100% faith is that, which is said everywhere, is that your Atma by itself is pure. It is anaditva nirgunatva. It doesn't have any guna. Anaditva nirgunatva paramatma imavya sharirastopi kaunteya na karoti na lipyate. It neither does anything nor is it bound. So your soul is 100% pure. Maya is the material, but they too have got bound. Now what is this bondage? This bondage is guna. But what is this guna? This bondage is not a real bondage, but it has happened, and it is so difficult to get rid of. And this is what one needs to contemplate, and that is why keeps on contemplating, and then not just contemplate, but do devotional service, and that's how God helps to get rid of this illusory bondage. And the only analogy that you can remember, that you should remember or recollect, is when you read the Jaiva Dharma. It says, like a man going and holding on the trees and saying, "Please get me free." That's the same state that we are in.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you. I think this was it was one of the best interactive and contemplative classes that I have attended. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Okay, Janagana Mataji, would you like to ask your question?
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu, it's about the last question. How does it connect with the Mahabharata war, about in a way the retaliation? What sort of learning do we take from that? Because yeah.
Yes, Mataji. So Mataji, you're right. So the thing is, so the rules of karma, though I have explained with few examples, it's important that Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita 4.16, he says 4.16, he says, "Kim karma kima karmeti kavyo piyatra mohitaha tatte karma prakshami yajgyatva mokshase shubhat." So what is karma? What is akarma? This is a very difficult and intricate question. It is not a simple plus or minus, though we can correlate one or two incidents, but each and every aspect that is happening in our life, it will be very difficult, because we have had millions and millions of lifetimes. So regarding Mahabharat war, there are multiple things. So this karma is not so easy for an onlooker to say, okay, this person, like for example, even about there's a background story to Dhritarashtra as to why he became blind, why he had 100 sons. So there, everything is related to that person's individual karma. And also the other thing is what Krishna says to Arjuna is that when you follow the instructions of the Supreme Lord, that is beyond karma. So that is actually a karma. So and in Bhagavad Gita, one important shloka is given as to how to get rid of karma. So how to do akarma is the main important thing. Akarma means the karma that you do and you don't get the result, because whatever karma we do can be either good or bad. So both are binding. So how do you do the third karma, which does not give you good result or bad result? Because if I do lots of good things, so I give money to everyone, go to give money to the beggars and everything, it won't go waste. It will all give me punya karma and take me to heaven. But I don't want to go to heaven. I want to get liberated. So that is called akarma. And for that, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 18.17, he gives the answer. Yasya naham kruto bhavo buddhir yasya na lipyate hatva pisa imal lokan nahanti na nibadyate. Yasya naham kruto bhavo, the one who has who is clearly situated and knows that I am not the doer, because the reason you are bound by your actions is because you consider yourself to be the doer. Whereas there are so many factors in doership. So the doership mentality is what keeps you bound. So when there is no doership mentality, the karma doesn't act on you. And how do you get rid of the doership mentality? It's not saying, "Oh, I'm not the doer," and you kill somebody. So it is when you really understand that you are not the doer, which comes with the self-realization, that you can get rid of the karma completely, or by doing bhakti in the proper, when you are elevated bhakta, then there is no karma which binds you. So Mataji, yes, in Mahabharat war, there are lots and lots of play of karma of each and every person, and that's what is happening to each one of us. And the only way to do a karma, that is a karma which doesn't give you good or bad result, is by doing bhakti, or to have the highest in the Gyan mark, where they become fully Gyanis, and they completely give up their sense of false I or the doership mentality. Hare Krishna. Hope Mataji it helps you. Or
yeah, but I'm just thinking that if that was the case, that the brothers should have taken what came to them, isn't it? That's what we're trying to say. And
which sorry, brother.
Arjuna and his brothers, they should have actually accepted and take the punishment. So in reality life, and
okay,
as we say,
you're saying
we
that,
are the doer.
about
Yes,
accepting. Okay,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay, Mataji. Okay.
And
Okay.
I'm
Whether
just
we
connecting with the kleshas you
that
said
dot.
as well. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. About the, okay, so they deserved the bad thing that has happened, so they should just accept it and just give it
That's
and
right.
not fight back. So Mataji, so it is not as simple as that. So yes, that's what they were going to do. But then Krishna advised them that they should, means they should fight for the war. And so, the one thing that we should not take away from this about bad thing happening to you is that you should not retaliate. Retaliate in the sense that if meaning in the sense that doing harm to others, you should not do when it is what do you call? Meaning somebody has hit you, you hit them back. You understand that has,
retaliate. Yeah.
retaliation. Yes. So you think, how do you explain that Pandavas retaliated against the Kauravas? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Yes. That is because Lord Krishna advised them to do, and also that means that is what was ordained to happen. So it's not
It's
that
to
you
show-
always
The thing is, what came up of it was to seek justice.
Yeah.
So, but we're not meant to seek justice according to the scripture.
It's not that we are not meant to seek justice, but you're not supposed to think that whatever has happened is something that you did not deserve. So whatever has happened is something that you deserve. So whatever happened to the Pandavas, they deserved it. So they have to take the action without ill feelings, meaning without what do you call? Meaning without meaning in a non-judgmental way.
To be destructive, yes, and
meaning it should not be that just because he did this, so I'm going to do the bad thing for him. But for fighting for justice is totally different.
So also it connects with the 5 kleshas. How can we reach that state as a layman?
Yeah, as a layman, the only way we can get rid of the 5 kleshas is that's why Bhagavad Gita gives the 3 marks. That is the karma, jnana, and bhakti. Because of the limitation of time, I couldn't go into the details of the other yogas. But the best of these 3 is, and the easiest in this present age, is the bhakti yoga. And how does it happen? Is that by bhakti yoga, the consciousness is automatically elevated and purified, and that helps you to get rid of this 5 kleshas. And how does it happen? Because you have to remember that these 5 kleshas are all material things, and the spiritual will overcome the material. So yeah, it is not that they will go. They'll not go by one after the other. It's not a sequential thing.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this class because you got us engaged and about thinking what's the point reading all these scriptures, we don't understand what it means. Thank you very much. The best class I've been to for a long time. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Mataji.
Okay, Lydia Mataji, you did have your hand up. Would you like to ask your question, please? Lydia Mataji?
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for an amazing class. And but unfortunately, there's one little thing that you just mentioned about pap karma that I just didn't understand at all.
Pap means the bad karma.
The bad karma.
Okay. Pap means the sinful. Pap is sin, and punya means the pious. So pap karma is, so essentially we are in this material world because of 2 things. Any karma that we do could be classed as good or bad in the material sense. So it can be so the material good or material bad. So when we do materially good things, like for example, charity is considered to be good, help or giving money or helping somebody else is considered to be good, hurting others is considered to be bad. So this pap karma or punya karma, all the karmas are, you get a result of those karmas. So the punya karmas will take you in your next birth to your higher and higher planets, where you enjoy the results in the heavenly planets. Whereas the pap karmas, you will have to suffer by going in the hellish planets, and where you suffer. Or sometimes you get a mix of pap and punya karma in the human birth. So in the human birth as well, you see that some people, we have got suffering in our life, and we also have some pleasant surprise, some enjoyments in our life, which come automatically. So those are because of the result of our past punya and pap karma. And the proportion of the pap and punya karma that we are supposed to experience in one lifetime is called the prarabdha karma of that person. So that is a technical term. So that is what each person is born into. So that's why you see that some person who struggles so hard and making so much effort, they still don't get rich, and some who make very little effort, and you see them becoming millionaires and billionaires. So because of their prarabdha which they have been born, which combined with the present effort gives them the results. Sorry, Mataji. So I hope that helps, or is there something else you wanted to ask?
Okay, was that okay, Lydia Mataji?
I couldn't hear clearly.
If you give us a thumb, if you give us a thumbs up, or okay, we'll move on to Amit Prabhu. Amit Prabhu, would you like to ask your question?
Hi, Hare Krishna. Firstly, yeah, I just wanted to ask. Unfortunately, you dialed in late, and I don't know if you touched base on. So, when we attain moksha, I just wanted to ask, where does the link of heaven and hell sit in? Because I've heard in previous, maybe not scriptures, from my understanding, that heaven and hell comes in once you attain moksha, or it's a temporary location for people who've done bad things or good things in life.
So heaven and hell do not exist in moksha, Prabhuji. So moksha is complete emancipation. So heaven and hell exist in the material world. They have no existence in the real spiritual aspect of ourselves. So once somebody has got liberated, it means for them it is an atyantik pralaya. Atyantik pralaya means complete annihilation of the material world for them. So they have no association with the material world. Heaven and hell are concepts or destinations in the material world. So liberated person has nothing to do with heaven or hell, Prabhuji. Hope it helps, because there's heaven and hell are for the bound beings who go up and down like a Ferris wheel. So you do punya, you go up, you do pap, come down, then go and down, go on. This is what has been happened for all the bound jivas who go up and down and keep doing the same thing again and again. And that's what is said, puna puna charvita charvananam. That is what Prahlad Maharaj says. Just chewing the chewed. That's what Prabhupada says in his lectures. But when you are liberated, it is nothing to do with the material world. No heaven, no hell.
Right. So, yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Sorry, you wanted to ask a follow-up?
Yeah, I was just going to say, so with heaven and hell then, so is that when before you're reborn again, so for whatever good you do or whatever bad you do, based on that, you'll go in heaven and hell temporarily, and then you're reborn, and moksha is the end. Is that how I understand?
Moksha is the end, absolutely. And the only way to end is to burn away all the karma. And the only definite way, easiest way to burn away all the karma is to engage in bhakti. There is no other way, because if you try to neutralize one or the other, you still get bound and bound. It's not, you cannot neutralize. So you may say, oh, I know that I've done this pap, let me atone for it. But then, it doesn't get completely, because there's millions and trillions of baggage that's remaining. You cannot completely annihilate all your karma just by neutralizing one after the other. So the only way, as Krishna says in 18.66, the final teaching that he says, Sarva dharman paritajya mamekam sharanam vraja ham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha. I give you moksha. How? Definitely, without doubt, don't worry, is by surrendering to Krishna. So by surrendering, all your karmas get annihilated. Even you may be the biggest, and it says, apichetsu durachar, even if you are the worst sinner, or even if I am the worst sinner, I have murdered 1,000 people in this lifetime, but I surrender completely to Krishna. It is gone in 1 second, 1 moment. That's it. And you may wonder how does this happen, but that's probably too long a topic that we'll discuss some other time. But that's what the secret is, Prabhuji.
Thank you. That's helped me a lot to understand the concept. So thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you. So Devi Mataji?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. You mentioned something which was what I started to think or to understand, but then I just leave it to be. When I start to read, in Krishna consciousness and start reading Mahabharata and Chaitanya Charitamrita and many others, Prabhupada's books, you named one word which made me go back to what I start to think, is it that? And it was that almost like you mentioned illusion. It's like the film sets, that we are on the film set and we are going to have different role all the time. Today, for instance, in this life, I was mother of 6 children, my 3 boys, 3 girls, and next life, I'm going to have another role. And maybe I'm going to be a man, and maybe I'm going to be a president. I don't know. You understand what I mean? That's what yes. I start to get understanding that it is Krishna's pastime. Even this is Krishna's pastime, and this is a film set.
Yes, Mataji. So this is wonderful explanation, Mataji, and this is exactly what it is. But for us who are bound, we feel it completely real. And if you tell anybody this thing, they cannot believe it, because that is what it is. So yes, you are absolutely right. Nothing happens without the knowledge of Krishna. So this is the pastime that is happening, but we are bound in this material world, and you cannot say this is false. It is it's completely false, because for the person who is bound, just for example, the analogy that I gave is that somebody who is suffering in the dream, for them the suffering is 100% real. As long as you come out of the dream, that suffering for that person who is dreaming, it is 100% real for him. So similarly, the suffering that we are having in this material world is 100% real for us, unless and until we wake up completely, meaning you are liberated, or unless and until you are completely liberated. So yes, Mataji, you are absolutely right. The analogy is like a film scene. Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. I've just got one note from the chat, so apologies for keeping you, but it says you mentioned about prayers from the Shastra. Is there any particular prayer that you would recommend devotees to commit to on a regular basis?
Thank you, Prabhuji, for this question. Yes, there is no particular one prayer, because one size doesn't fit all. That's why we have so many prayers. It is any prayer that you want to take. So like somebody recommended some prayers from Bhagavad Gita itself, like what Arjuna says to God: Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, Adidevam Ajam Vibham. So he quotes about Lord Krishna. So anything in praise of Lord Krishna, or which tells the actual Tattva, is something you can do. But so this Srimad Bhagavatam is full of prayers. So you can select anyone, or just chant the Mahamantra. So it's not, so one size doesn't fit all. So you can select the one that you associate with the most. So that's what I would say, Prabhuji. So it's not to any one recommended. I would say everything is absolutely fine, because they tell the real Tattva. And the reason I said, or in the spiritual text, it is mentioned that use the prayers that are already in the Vedas, is that if we do the prayers from our own mind, like I used to pray, is that, oh God, give me this. Okay, I hope this happens. Hope that happens. Hope my thing gets better. So you are just asking God for something that keeps you bound in this material world, and that's not the real prayer. And because your mind can only think of material things, it cannot think, or it cannot come up with a spiritual thing. And any mantra is to get beyond your mind too. Or anything that in the scriptures, any shloka in the scripture is a mantra. So anything that a person likes, they can use it, or anything that is given by their guru is the best for that particular person. Hare Krishna. Hope that helps.